Tonight I stand before you not to teach you how to chase the world, but to remind you how to let the world find you. I know what it feels like to be tired of pushing. I know the ache of explaining yourself again and again, of defending your dreams to people who never had the courage to dream at all, of announcing your plans to rooms that were never built to hold your future. I know the quiet frustration of working in silence while noise gets rewarded, while shortcuts get celebrated, while shallow applause drowns out deep purpose. And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still hoping, still becoming. There is a lie we have been taught since childhood. The lie says you must shout to be seen. The lie says you must perform to be valued. The lie says you must constantly explain who you are, what you are building, and where you are going. But there is another way, a gentler way, a stronger way, a way that does not bruise your spirit while you try to impress the world. Stay silent, not because you are weak, not because you have nothing to say, not because your voice does not matter. Stay silent because your life is learning how to speak for you. There is a sacred kind of silence. It is not empty. It is not lonely. It is full of preparation. It is full of alignment. It is full of quiet agreements being signed between you and your future. Silence is not absence. Silence is incubation. Every seed grows underground before it breaks the surface. No applause reaches it. No spotlight warms it. No validation confirms it, but still it grows, and so do you. You are not late because nobody sees you yet. You are not forgotten because nobody is clapping yet. You are not failing because your progress is invisible. You are becoming. And becoming is a quiet process. Listen to me. The loudest people in the room are often covering the deepest uncertainty in their chest. The ones who constantly broadcast their next move are usually asking the world for permission to believe in themselves. The ones who talk the most about their power are usually afraid of losing it. But you are learning a different language. You are learning how to trust what is happening inside you before you ask the outside world to confirm it. You are learning how to hold your dreams gently, the way you hold a newborn, protecting them from careless hands and careless words. Because not everyone deserves access to your becoming. Not everyone has the emotional maturity to stand near a miracle in progress. Not everyone knows how to water something they cannot control. Some people only know how to trample what they do not understand, so stay silent, not in bitterness, not in isolation, but in wisdom. Let me tell you something no one prepared you for. Every time you speak your next level too early, you invite the opinions of people who will never walk your path. Every time you reveal your unfinished vision, you expose it to minds that only understand finished products. Every time you explain your calling, you give power to confusion to sit at the same table as clarity. Silence protects clarity. Silence preserves momentum. Silence keeps your energy clean. You do not need to convince the world that you are growing. Growth does not require an announcement. Rain does not ask for permission before it falls. The sun does not explain itself before it rises. The ocean does not apologize for its depth, and you should not have to audition for your own destiny. There is a holy discipline in doing the work quietly, in waking up early when no one is watching, in choosing integrity when no one would ever know if you didn't, in fixing what is broken inside you before you decorate what is broken outside you, in becoming honest with your pain instead of packaging it for attention. You see, the world rewards noise, but life rewards alignment. Life rewards patience. Life rewards courage that does not need witnesses. You are living in a generation that celebrates performance more than presence. We measure success in reactions, in views, in validation that disappears as fast as it arrives. But your soul was not designed to be sustained by temporary applause. Your soul was designed for lasting peace, for steady confidence, for quiet authority, for the kind of power that does not have to raise its voice to be respected. When you stay silent, something powerful happens inside you. You begin to hear yourself again, not the version of you shaped by comparison, not the version of you edited for acceptance, not the version of you filtered through other people's expectations. You hear your own truth. You hear your own rhythm. You hear the soft, persistent pull of what you are meant to build. And that voice is never loud. It is steady. It is calm. It is patient. It does not rush you. It does not shame you. It does not threaten you with deadlines created by other people's timelines. It simply says, keep going. There will be moments when staying silent feels like you are disappearing. I will not lie to you. There will be rooms where your humility is mistaken for weakness. There will be conversations where your restraint is misunderstood as lack of confidence. There will be seasons where you wonder if being quiet is costing you opportunities. But listen carefully. Nothing meant for you can miss you. Nothing aligned with your growth will pass you by because you did not speak loudly enough. Nothing destined for your life requires you to betray your peace to receive it. What belongs to you is not fragile. It is patient. It is precise. It knows exactly where to find you. You do not need to chase what is already learning your name. There is a reason you feel tired of explaining. There is a reason you feel drawn to privacy. There is a reason your spirit resists unnecessary exposure. It is not because you are afraid. It is because you are finally learning discernment. You are learning the difference between sharing and leaking, between connection and overexposure, between vulnerability and self-abandonment. Some doors do not open faster when you knock harder. They open when you become the person who belongs on the other side. And that kind of transformation cannot be rushed. It cannot be live-streamed. It cannot be summarized in captions. It happens slowly. It happens quietly. It happens when you choose growth over gossip, when you choose discipline over distraction, when you choose healing over hiding, when you choose depth over popularity. I want you to understand something deeply tonight. Silence is not passivity. Silence is strategy. It is the refusal to waste emotional energy on people who cannot contribute to your becoming. It is the decision to invest your attention where it actually multiplies. It is the courage to protect your inner world when the outer world constantly demands access to it. When you stay silent, you are not shrinking. You are gathering yourself. You are consolidating your power. You are strengthening your center. You are becoming unshakable. And that is dangerous to anything that thrives on your insecurity. You see, when you stop explaining yourself, manipulators lose their leverage. When you stop defending your choices, critics lose their stage. When you stop announcing your next move, envy loses its target. When you stop seeking approval, fear loses its grip. Silence clears the noise so that purpose can finally breathe. Some of you in this room have been carrying dreams that are older than your doubts. Some of you have felt the call to become something different long before you had the language to name it. Some of you have survived things that should have broken you, and instead they sharpened you. But somewhere along the way, you learned to talk yourself out of what your soul was quietly building. You learned to look for reassurance before you looked for alignment. You learned to measure your progress against other people's timelines. You learned to announce your intentions before you built your capacity. Tonight, I invite you back to silence, not the silence of suppression, the silence of intention, the silence of devotion, the silence of quiet, disciplined love for your own life. Stay silent while you learn. Stay silent while you heal. Stay silent while you rebuild your confidence from the inside instead of borrowing it from applause. Stay silent while you practice becoming consistent instead of just inspired. Stay silent while you unlearn the habits that kept you small. Stay silent while you discover who you are without the pressure to perform. Because something beautiful happens when you stop narrating your life. You start living it. You stop watching yourself from the outside. You stop evaluating every step for how it will look to others. You start feeling your way forward. You start trusting your instincts again. You start recognizing the quiet joy of progress that belongs only to you. There is a kind of success that looks loud, and there is a kind of success that feels calm. There is a kind of achievement that impresses strangers, and there is a kind of achievement that finally allows you to sleep peacefully at night. There is a kind of life built for attention, and there is a kind of life built for meaning. Choose the life that can hold you when the lights go off. Choose the life that does not collapse when the applause fades. Choose the life that still feels honest when no one is watching. Let me be very clear with you. Staying silent does not mean staying invisible forever. It means waiting for your work to introduce you properly. It means letting consistency build your reputation. It means allowing excellence to speak when words would only dilute it. It means trusting that timing is not punishment, it is protection. There are rooms you are not in yet, because you are still becoming the person who will not lose themselves once they enter. There are platforms you do not have yet, because you are still learning how to stay grounded when people begin to listen. There are blessings you have not received yet, because you are still strengthening the emotional structure required to hold them. If you were handed everything you asked for too early, you would not recognize the version of yourself that would have been required to keep it. Silence prepares you for permanence. Noise chases moments. And you were not created for moments. You were created for impact. You were created for longevity. You were created for depth. You were created for quiet confidence that does not crack under pressure. I want you to release the pressure to constantly prove yourself. You do not owe the world an explanation for your process. You do not owe anyone a preview of what you are building. You do not owe your future to people who only know your past. The most powerful thing you can say sometimes is nothing. The most revolutionary act in a culture addicted to visibility is privacy. The most courageous decision in a world obsessed with speed is patience. The most confident posture is calm. And calm grows best in silence. Some of you are walking through a season where everything feels slow, where answers are not arriving as quickly as you hoped, where clarity feels delayed, where progress feels subtle, where growth feels internal instead of external. Do not mistake quiet for stagnation. Do not mistake slowness for failure. Do not mistake waiting for being forgotten. There are shifts happening in you that no camera could capture. Your emotional strength is increasing. Your discernment is sharpening. Your self-respect is deepening. Your boundaries are becoming clearer. Your priorities are rearranging. Your standards are rising. Your tolerance for chaos is shrinking. Your appetite for distraction is fading. Your relationship with yourself is changing. And that is the foundation of everything you are about to build. When everything finally comes together, it will not arrive in chaos. It will arrive in alignment. It will feel natural. It will feel steady. It will feel deserved. It will feel familiar to the person you quietly became while no one was watching. Stay silent while you practice your craft. Stay silent while you strengthen your discipline. Stay silent while you forgive yourself for what you did not know before you knew better. Stay silent while you rebuild your relationship with your own worth. Stay silent while you outgrow the environments that cannot hold your next level. Stay silent while you learn to say no without guilt and yes without fear. Stay silent while you stop negotiating with what drains you. Stay silent while you choose yourself without needing witnesses. Because one day you will walk into rooms that you once prayed for, and nobody will remember how quietly you arrived. They will only feel the presence of someone who knows exactly who they are. They will sense the steadiness in your voice, the clarity in your decisions, the calm in your posture, the confidence in your silence. They will not need your story explained. Your life will carry the evidence. Everything will come to you naturally, not magically, not effortlessly, but organically, because you will have become compatible with what you are asking for, because your habits will match your hopes, because your discipline will support your dreams, because your character will sustain your success, because your inner world will finally be able to hold what your outer world begins to offer. Stay silent. Let your work mature. Let your healing deepen. Let your identity stabilize. Let your confidence become quiet instead of loud. Let your presence become heavy with peace. Let your steps become guided instead of rushed. Let your future recognize you when you arrive. And when life finally opens the door you have been quietly preparing for, you will not need to announce your arrival. You will walk in gently. You will sit confidently. You will breathe deeply. You will smile softly. And everything you once struggled to explain will finally make sense without a single word. Becoming in secret prepares you for public responsibility, because the world only sees the moment you rise, but it never sees the long obedience you practiced in the dark. The discipline you learned when nobody was applauding, the character you built when there was no audience to impress. And I stand here tonight to tell you something that will protect your future more than popularity ever could, more than recognition ever will, more than any shortcut offered to you in moments of desperation. What you become when nobody is watching is what decides whether you survive when everybody finally is. We live in a time that rushes people into visibility before they have built stability, into influence before they have learned integrity, into platforms before they have learned humility, and into leadership before they have learned how to carry the weight of another human being's trust without breaking themselves in the process. And I need you to hear this clearly. Exposure does not create strength, it only reveals it. If your foundation is weak, attention will not save you, it will collapse you. Public responsibility is heavy, even when it looks glamorous, even when it looks effortless, even when it looks like a reward, and it is only survivable for those who have already learned how to carry pressure in private. Because private pressure is quieter, but it is far more honest. In secret you meet the real you. In secret you cannot perform. In secret you cannot pretend. In secret there is no crowd to persuade and no reputation to protect. There is only truth. There is only your habits. There is only your discipline. There is only your fear. There is only your doubt. There is only your integrity. There is only your willingness to keep showing up when nothing seems to be changing. And that is where leaders are formed, not in rooms full of praise, but in rooms full of silence. Public responsibility requires emotional strength that cannot be downloaded, borrowed, or faked. It requires restraint when reaction would feel easier. It requires humility when pride would feel more natural. It requires patience when speed would feel more impressive. It requires courage when comfort would feel safer. And the only place those muscles grow is in private, when nobody is rewarding you for doing the right thing, when nobody is correcting you for doing the wrong thing, when nobody is keeping score, when nobody is recording your progress, when nobody is validating your pain, when nobody is celebrating your consistency, when nobody is noticing your sacrifices. You learn how to become self-led before you are ever allowed to lead others. You learn how to correct yourself before you are trusted to correct anyone else. You learn how to hold your emotions without letting them control you. You learn how to listen without needing to dominate the room. You learn how to carry disappointment without becoming bitter. You learn how to stay focused when motivation disappears. You learn how to keep your word even when nobody would know if you broke it. And all of that happens in secret. The tragedy of our time is not that people want to be seen. It is that too many people want to be seen before they are ready to be responsible for what being seen will demand of them. Because visibility is not neutral. It amplifies everything you have not healed. It exposes every insecurity you never confronted. It magnifies every weakness you never disciplined. It stretches every crack in your character. It puts your emotional patterns under pressure. It places your private values under public scrutiny. It turns your small habits into large consequences. And if you have not learned how to govern yourself when nobody was watching, the world will watch you unravel when everyone is. Public responsibility is not about being admired. It is about being accountable. It is about being steady. It is about being trusted. It is about being emotionally safe for other people. It is about knowing how to respond instead of react. It is about knowing how to listen instead of defend. It is about knowing how to hold power without letting power rewrite your values. And power tests you in ways pain never could. Pain teaches you survival. Power teaches you character. Success reveals what suffering could only prepare. And becoming in secret is what protects you when your life begins to matter to people who do not know you personally. Because one day, your decisions will affect more than just you. Your words will shape more than your own mood. Your reactions will influence more than your own relationships. Your consistency will carry more than your own progress. Your failure will hurt more than your own pride. And your integrity will either shield or damage people who trusted you before they ever truly knew you. You are being trained right now for responsibility you cannot yet imagine. Every time you choose honesty when lying would be easier. Every time you show up when quitting would be more comfortable. Every time you apologize when defending yourself would feel safer. Every time you correct your own behavior instead of blaming your circumstances. Every time you stay disciplined without external reward, every time you walk away from something that would cost you your self-respect, every time you protect your peace instead of feeding your ego, every time you remain silent instead of explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, you are practicing for a future that will demand emotional maturity from you under pressure. People think preparation looks loud. They think it looks like exposure. They think it looks like connections. They think it looks like being everywhere. They think it looks like being known. But the most powerful preparation is internal. It looks like learning how to regulate your emotions when life becomes unpredictable. It looks like learning how to stay humble when you finally receive recognition. It looks like learning how to listen when people project their expectations onto you. It looks like learning how to carry criticism without letting it poison your confidence. It looks like learning how to stay teachable when your influence grows. It looks like learning how to stay grounded when your name begins to travel faster than your presence. In secret, you learn how to become emotionally independent. You stop needing praise to feel worthy. You stop needing validation to stay committed. You stop needing approval to trust your instincts. You stop needing attention to feel significant. And that emotional independence becomes the anchor that keeps you stable when the world begins to demand more of you than you ever expected. Because public responsibility is not just professional. It is personal. It is relational. It is emotional. It is spiritual. It is psychological. It is the weight of being watched, interpreted, misunderstood, admired, resented, projected onto, and judged by people who do not have access to your private struggles. And if you have not learned how to ground yourself internally, the opinions of others will become your emotional weather. One compliment will lift you. One criticism will break you. One failure will define you. One success will intoxicate you. And you will spend your life emotionally unstable in environments that require emotional leadership. But when you become in secret, you learn how to remain steady no matter who is clapping and no matter who is doubting. You learn how to let feedback inform you without allowing it to own you. You learn how to stay soft without becoming weak. You learn how to stay strong without becoming hard. You learn how to stay open without becoming exposed. You learn how to carry confidence without becoming arrogant. And that balance can only be learned when no one is watching you perform it. There are battles you must win in private before you are allowed to stand in public without destroying what you touch. You must win the battle against comparison. You must win the battle against impatience. You must win the battle against ego. You must win the battle against entitlement. You must win the battle against shortcuts. You must win the battle against self-sabotage. You must win the battle against the need to be chosen instead of the commitment to become ready. And most of these battles are quiet. They happen in your thoughts. They happen in your routines. They happen in your responses to disappointment. They happen in your reactions to rejection. They happen in the way you speak about people who are not present. They happen in the way you handle opportunities that offer visibility without responsibility. They happen in the way you treat people who cannot advance you. They happen in the way you show up when nobody is keeping track. Secret growth trains your conscience. Public responsibility exposes it. Secret growth trains your self-control. Public responsibility tests it. Secret growth trains your humility. Public responsibility measures it. Secret growth trains your patience. Public responsibility demands it. Secret growth trains your discernment. Public responsibility relies on it. You do not need to rush into rooms you are not yet equipped to hold emotionally. Because leadership is not just about vision. It is about emotional containment. It is about psychological safety. It is about relational intelligence. It is about self-awareness. It is about staying grounded when your influence begins to distort how people treat you. And becoming in secret is where you learn how to remain human while carrying something that could easily make you forget your humanity. You learn how to stay gentle when authority enters your voice. You learn how to remain respectful when people begin to defer to you. You learn how to remain curious when people begin to agree with you. You learn how to remain accountable when people stop challenging you. You learn how to remain grateful when people begin to praise you. And these are not skills you can practice in public. They must be developed before you arrive. Because once you arrive, your mistakes carry a different weight. Your words travel further. Your silence communicates more. Your reactions become examples. Your habits become culture. Your emotional patterns become permission for others. And if you have not learned how to manage yourself, you will create environments that feel unsafe for people who depend on your stability. Becoming in secret is where you learn how to sit with discomfort without escaping it, how to receive correction without becoming defensive, how to accept feedback without collapsing, how to grow without resenting the process, how to remain disciplined without external pressure, how to continue refining yourself even when your progress feels invisible, how to respect boundaries even when no one enforces them, how to choose responsibility even when no one rewards it, how to remain aligned with your values even when compromise would open faster doors. Public responsibility does not ask who you were when you were struggling. It asks who you are when you finally have options. And it is in private that you learn how to choose wisely when nothing forces you to. You learn how to say no when yes would make you more popular. You learn how to walk away when staying would make you more visible. You learn how to wait when rushing would make you feel important. You learn how to protect your energy when giving it away would make you feel needed. You learn how to preserve your integrity when trading it would accelerate your rise. And this is the quiet courage that builds leaders people can trust, because responsibility is not a position. It is a posture. It is the posture of self-regulation. It is the posture of emotional honesty. It is the posture of relational maturity. It is the posture of internal accountability. It is the posture of long-term thinking. It is the posture of humility under pressure. It is the posture of patience in chaos. It is the posture of listening before speaking. It is the posture of understanding before reacting. It is the posture of choosing what is right instead of what is impressive. And that posture must become natural to you before the world needs it from you. When you become in secret, you also learn how to live without needing to be rescued. You stop looking for saviors. You stop waiting for permission. You stop outsourcing your confidence. You stop blaming circumstances for patterns you refuse to change. You stop confusing potential with preparation. You stop romanticizing struggle instead of refining your systems. You stop calling chaos creativity. You stop calling inconsistency passion. You stop calling fear wisdom. And you start building emotional order inside your life. You start creating routines that support your energy. You start choosing environments that protect your focus. You start honoring your limits. You start respecting your capacity. You start managing your attention. You start learning how to rest without guilt. You start learning how to work without burning yourself out. You start learning how to say no without apologizing. You start learning how to hold silence without feeling irrelevant. You start learning how to trust timing without trying to control it. Public responsibility will stretch your nervous system. It will stretch your patience. It will stretch your empathy. It will stretch your tolerance for complexity. It will stretch your ability to stay present in uncomfortable conversations. It will stretch your capacity to hold conflicting emotions without becoming reactive. It will stretch your ability to sit with uncertainty without rushing to premature conclusions. And only those who have practiced emotional regulation in private will be able to lead with clarity in public. You cannot lead people where you refuse to lead yourself. You cannot stabilize environments you cannot stabilize internally. You cannot offer clarity when you live in emotional confusion. You cannot create safety when you live in reactivity. You cannot build trust when you cannot manage your impulses. You cannot hold responsibility when you cannot hold yourself. Becoming in secret is where you stop running from your emotional patterns. You stop justifying your triggers. You stop normalizing your avoidance. You stop spiritualizing your procrastination. You stop glamorizing your exhaustion. You stop romanticizing your chaos. You stop tolerating relationships that drain your growth. You stop entertaining habits that sabotage your focus. You stop feeding narratives that keep you small. You stop repeating cycles you already understand. And you start choosing a quieter, stronger way of living. a way that values sustainability over speed, a way that values depth over visibility, a way that values clarity over chaos, a way that values discipline over motivation, a way that values responsibility over recognition. Because one day, people will not need your inspiration as much as they will need your stability. They will not need your charisma as much as they will need your consistency. They will not need your words as much as they will need your presence. They will not need your ideas as much as they will need your reliability. They will not need your vision as much as they will need your emotional safety. They will not need your confidence as much as they will need your integrity. And the only way to become that person is to practice being that person when nobody is benefiting from you yet. Becoming in secret is where you learn how to carry silence without feeling empty, how to carry solitude without becoming lonely, how to carry responsibility without becoming resentful, how to carry pressure without becoming reactive, how to carry expectations without losing your identity, how to carry ambition without losing your humanity, how to carry leadership without losing your curiosity, how to carry influence without losing your empathy, how to carry authority without losing your softness, how to carry success without losing your self-respect. There are lessons you cannot skip. There are seasons you cannot outsource. There are transformations you cannot rush. There are emotional muscles you cannot build on a stage. There are inner battles you must fight without witnesses. There are habits you must practice without applause. There are standards you must uphold without supervision. There are disciplines you must commit to without external pressure. There are truths you must confront without anyone forcing you to. There are fears you must sit with without distraction. There are insecurities you must dismantle without validation. There are narratives you must rewrite without permission. And this is how you become safe to trust with what you are asking for. This is how you become reliable when the weight increases. This is how you become calm when the pressure intensifies. This is how you become clear when the noise grows louder. This is how you become grounded when your world expands. This is how you become responsible for more than your own survival. This is how you become capable of holding other people's hope without collapsing under it. This is how you become capable of standing in difficult conversations without losing your emotional balance. This is how you become capable of choosing integrity when compromise becomes convenient. This is how you become capable of staying aligned when attention becomes intoxicating. This is how you become capable of remaining teachable when people begin to quote you. This is how you become capable of listening when people stop challenging you. This is how you become capable of staying human when people begin to idealize you. This is how you become capable of remaining humble when your name begins to open doors. This is how you become capable of leading without needing to dominate. This is how you become capable of serving without losing yourself. This is how you become capable of carrying public responsibility without sacrificing private peace.